welcome to the Everything Is Earned podcast. I'm your host, Mike.
I'm your co-host, Tim.
And we're here to break down everything happening in your Cleveland sports world. And currently, we have the draft coming up here on Thursday. And we're going to break down the first couple rounds here of the draft on our Wednesday episode. We want to make sure we're fully prepared and have the most, what's the word I'm looking for? I want to have the best breakdown for everybody. So I'm not confident in giving random picks. I want to make sure we're going to give picks based off the knowledge we have and the knowledge that we've gained. I think we have a good idea of what it's going to look like, but we're kind of hammering out just a couple debates here of where we want to land and what we think the Browns should do. Now, right now everyone's talking about The Last Dance on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. Everyone's really into this MJ documentary. Which is the big thing right now. Do you got anything to say about the MJ documentary, Tim?
The MJ documentary, no. I want to use this time to talk about how great and better LeBron is during this time. We give MJ the title greatest player of all time, and we talked about the relevancy of MVPs nowadays, and we talked about how often that people forget the most valuable based off the most popular and trendy or maybe have a really great season during that year. And if we talk about MVPs, LeBron has been the most valuable player since probably 2009, 2010. But he has not had the last 10 MVPs because it's a regular season award. And if we take that into account, the greatest of all time debate, and we kind of look towards the most valuable player, the greatest of all time debate, I think you have to shift your idea of MJ, the greatest ever, to the greatest scorer ever. Because I think his impact on the game was far, far less than LeBron has been on his teams or the league overall.
Here's a couple things that came to mind when I was starting to watch a couple clips from the documentary and just seeing what it's going to mean to the discussion of the greatest player of all time. Is there's a lot of film that younger fans haven't seen on MJ. And there's a lot of character things that most fans aren't aware of or don't remember because they weren't around during that time. Like, for example, MJ has a pretty well documented gambling problem, which is why he went back to play baseball. Like, there's legitimate things going on that MJ is gonna be not looking great for. It's gonna take his character side of his legacy and bring it down a couple pegs. And at the end of the day, people are gonna argue, okay, it's art versus artist almost, where you look at his titles versus his character stuff, and that's where LeBron has a clear leg up in the discussion in terms of legacy, not only as a person but as an athlete, because he's done so much more off the court than on the court.
Are you saying that MJ's and LeBron's character are going to play a huge role in the legacies here?
Yeah, I'm saying if you did like a side by side thing where you gave give them each points for things, LeBron James wins the character, and the off court stuff every day of the week. He's a better off court person times 10 of what Michael Jordan is, which is wild because Jordan influenced the game so heavily, like you're talking about.
Inside the game, yes. But you mentioned the gambling problem. You mentioned him going over the baseball. I think there's an aspect to that where you have to give that a negative impact on his legacy. The greatest player of all time is not someone you think loses his passion and just tries a different sport. That's not someone who you want the face of the NBA, like the best ever, in my opinion.
I think MJ thought he was such a good athlete that he could cross over to baseball no problem. Like, he was so into him, like his own ability, that he's like, oh, I can go to baseball and crush that too. Like, that's no problem.
If LeBron really wanted to compete in that realm with MJ, you think he would have crossed over to football?
No, he doesn't need to, because LeBron, like I said, does everything off court that's even more impactful than Michael Jordan trying to play baseball. Like, what LeBron has done with his uninterrupted company and what he's done with his I Promise school are far more important, far more reaching than what he's done, than what MJ did by playing baseball. But his baseball thing is almost wiped from history because people don't want to look at that negative piece of his athletic career, and they kind of discount that and say, okay, he came back to win, win another title or two here. But you got to remember that piece of the legacy, I think, negatively hurts you if you talk about the overall, who was the greatest of all time.
And there's debate if Kobe Bryant had been before MJ, would we consider him the greatest of all time? Because we know how identical and close the two teams are.
Could be, but remember Kobe modeled a lot of things after MJ, so the influence helped shape Kobe as a player.
Okay, but going back to the MJ LeBron thing, I think we have to take. I want to take personally. This is my opinion. Just growing up in Cleveland, being from here, and seeing what LeBron's done over the years, I want to take LeBron, the MJ, out of the discussion completely and save it for LeBron and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar at this time. And I want to put MJ as the top, the model, the guy to be for the greatest scorer of all time. Is Kevin Durant gonna chase that? Is James Harden gonna chase that? Was Kobe near that? That's why I want to shift back into, because I see the well-roundedness of LeBron and how he affects and changes or dominates the game in various ways throughout as the game goes on. And pardon me, I didn't see any of MJ live, but I've seen plenty of highlight, and I think that LeBron's what he does across the board is superior to MJ.
Okay, so here's what's going to be interesting. Is we're going to have this documentary series, and at the end of it all, we're going to have a better perspective on what MJ was able to do in his career and have more of a wider range of information than we had previously. So we're going to be able to use that information to help create a better discussion here around the LeBron MJ topic. Right now, I'm firmly believing that LeBron is the greatest of all time. The MJ documentary could shift things a little bit, but we'll have to wait and see. It's multiple parts, so we won't have the end here for over a month till we actually see the end of the documentary.
Oh, the hour-long episodes?
Yeah, I'm really excited for it. It's really very captivating right now, and there's a lot of like behind-the-scenes stuff that you had never seen before. So really excited for that kind of stuff.
Also, in the same debate, this is MJ's.
He had the rights to the footage.
Yeah, this is MJ's film. LeBron is still in his career, so we're still having this debate while in the middle of his career still. Not in the middle of it. It's still in the late half. But 4 or 5 years later is when it's his projection to stay in the lead still. So I think the 3 to 5 years, whenever it'll be, he wants to play with his son, Bonnie Jr., I think that, and then him pushing out his own film after he retires would just put him over the top as the clear-cut best of all time.
Here's the thing, too, is you got to remember that nostalgia is a hell of a drug. All right?
It really is.
Nostalgia is one hell of a drug. And here's the other thing, too, is if you think about the Cavs championship just very recently, back in 2016, you look back at it now, and you look at the moments and things that happened to lead to that championship, and it feels even more impactful and even more crazy that did happen. Like, looking back on things, you're like, holy crap, like, I can't believe that actually happened. I can't believe the Cavs roster was that good. I can't believe LeBron came back to Cleveland a second time. I can't believe we had the Warriors to go up against, instead of having multiple championships, the Warriors, everything came into place and they won multiple titles.
Well,
it's a wild time in history.
They scrapped the entire game plan, the entire strategy from the GM point of building a franchise. They said, screw the normal, the expected way to build a franchise through the draft, signing role players around my stars that I gathered, and was saying, all right, let's just pick up one of the best players of all time and just see what happens, and then blend those in with already an MVP and another greatest shooter of all time.
I don't necessarily agree with that, because 3 other guys are drafted. They're theirs. Clay, Draymond, and Curry. Those are all their guys.
Well, if they ran it back, if that Warriors team ran it back, I think it would have been a different story. But the GM, I'm blanking on his name.
Oh, Bob something?
Bob Myers.
Bob Myers, yeah.
He decided that wasn't enough, and instead of running it back, he decided...
But give credit to them. If the Cavs would have signed KD, we would have been all happy about it.
Okay, but we wouldn't have signed KD.
To a point.
I think part of the roster would have been up in flames, or we requested to trade it or something.
Sure, but
I don't think OJ
you
or
add
Channing...
KD to the Cavs team, they win that title like in a clean sweep without any kind of...
Well, to debunk that, LeBron James would never join a team with Kevin Durant. As much as they want to speculate, it may be in TV shows or
No,
whatever,
it
they would
wouldn't
never.
It would
That
never
would
happen.
destroy LeBron James' legacy to be the greatest ever.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That we have to look at that piece of it when you look at the Cavs Warriors title, series is like over the course of those few years. That you have to look at legacy too, because I think legacy matters in terms of those title runs. But at the end of the day, you're gonna look at LeBron, and he's gonna be more beloved once he hangs it up, like you said. I think you look at things now, even look at 4 years ago or 5 years ago here when the Cavs won the title. It's like, oh my gosh, like it was a really crazy ride. I can't believe that happened. And you think about being 10 years removed from that, it's gonna feel even more impactful.
Well, even 2022, whenever this sum of years that MJ has been retired. So
Yeah.
you thought about this 10 years, think about this 20 and where we're at right now.
Yeah, it's
where
crazy.
You have this generation, this young generation being in the mid 40s, 50s, talking about, oh, you've never seen someone like LeBron James, So
it might help Curry's career, but I am positive that KD's career, his trajectory of his legacy has gone downward.
Has reached the top.
He peaked when he was in OKC.
He's never gonna be in the debate whether him or LeBron's gonna be better. He had that in OKC.
He could have made the debate. There was a legitimate debate going out there where you could have started that, but KD's just not the type of player or the type of person really that was ever going to dethrone LeBron or take over.
He doesn't have
over the torch.
He doesn't have the personality to lead that sport, the NBA or basketball there.
A lot of kids love KD and love his game and everything like that.
But Kyrie too.
But no one's out there like I don't idolize KD, man. I just don't. Like I know like even beforehand I liked KD. I never loved him, man. There's a very select few of players in the NBA that I really enjoy watching that are right in the league. Like for example, Luka Doncic. You can't watch Luka and not love him. The guy makes the game feel like magic. Like he makes the game feel like so much fun, and it's effortless and it's competitive. And he elevates the people around him. That's fun basketball. Same thing with LeBron.
Yeah.
KD is just a guy that's not going out there and going to score a bucket. Like, he never does anything that makes me really drop my jaw. He makes some nice plays, hits some hard shots, but I don't see a lot of, jaw-dropping KD stuff.
Well, KD is a very select taste, so he's not beloved by all. Well, one, that's the decisions he made, but it's also his style of play you mentioned. It's a very ISO kind of enclosed. It's kind of an introverted play if you think about it. He doesn't really work well with others. Generally over his years, not someone who works extremely well with others like you would say LeBron does or Luka does or something like that.
I got a hot take. In this current era of basketball, it is better for your legacy if you're a player that elevates the team around you versus a pure scorer like MJ or a pure scorer like KD. I think if you elevate your team, it's better for your legacy in 2020.
In modern day basketball, the NBA.
In modern day basketball, it's better for your legacy if you're someone that elevates your team.
Well, obviously, someone who elevates your team. Hold on. We talked about legacy. We talked about how MJ is impacted. What has LeBron done in the past 17 years to impact the game? Look at the players that are coming in now. Look at Trae Young. Look at Luka Doncic. You think Luka would be the same player he is today if LeBron hasn't been in the league for 17 years? I
could be wrong. I think Luka said LeBron was his favorite player.
I think he was.
I'm pretty sure that I read that quote that he said he was his favorite player.
And it's become worldwide too. It wasn't worldwide when MJ played.
Yeah, I just think. I mean, yes, it was. It was worldwide. He was very worldwide. I think you got a little more perspective of that one. But I will tell you this. I think you're better off in today's basketball being a player that's going to elevate your team versus look at Harden. People don't like Harden, man. He's a selfish ball player who only is out to get his points and stats. Look at Westbrook. People don't like Westbrook either. Selfish ball player out to get his stats.
Because
he gets triple doubles.
Yeah, no matter what he's trying to show off, stat wise, you can't help but see it. Use your eye test and see it on the floor of what he actually is. He didn't try to be someone he's not, but he's not that player. Got
another hot take for you here. You said a trigger word for me. Eye test. I think eye test in basketball is probably the highest and one of the most important tests you can get. versus any other sport. I think eye test matters more in basketball than it does in any other sport. I think it's super important. I think you can tell almost right off the get-go.
I don't agree
what
with that.
people like have.
I don't agree with that. I think if you have a high knowledge of that sport, the eye test is very important. So if you said from the casual fan, if you can just see it, then I can agree with that. But if you're knowledgeable about that sport, the eye test to me is important to anybody.
Yeah, I'm saying like the eye test. If you're knowledgeable in sport, like you
sport.
can get a better read in basketball than you can in other sports. I'm saying eye test matters more than it does in like football. Like for example, there's even guys in football who switch positions, who are drafted to one position and will play a different position all together. Like for example, like here's a really good one in college. Kyle Juszczyk from Cloverleaf, and he went to Harvard. He played tight end. He was an All-American tight end.
Mm-hmm.
What did he get drafted in the NFL to go play? Fullback. Exactly. So it's like you knew he had football talent, but it wasn't like necessarily in the right position. So that his true position was his more valuable position in the NFL was fullback versus tight end. But I'm saying like that's eye test for like the football as a whole.
So are you using the eye test to evaluate talent? Is that what you're
yes.
saying? Okay.
Yes. If the eye test to evaluate talent is very obvious. Like I think in football it's not as clean cut as it is in basketball. You can tell someone can hoop.
Right, because I think coaching plays a bigger factor than football than it does basketball.
Probably, yeah.
Because there's more players to deal with. There's personnel and schemes and stuff. You have to have 11 different players come together on both sides a piece to make a winning team, and a whole coaching staff and the entire bench as well. So you're constantly subbing out players and using different people, and it's just all just plug and play until you figure it out.
I think so. And so, now that we're a little bit down the rabbit hole here with this MJ discussion, we're going to have to wait and see what the documentary is going to show us. I'm excited to watch it. I think it's going to be a very interesting thing for any sports fan to watch, especially those who really love the game of basketball, or even are kind of a casual fan. It'll give you more insight into the history of the Bulls and to MJ.
Yeah, I really want to learn more about MJ and get a better idea, a better perspective on him as a player and his impact with the team and basketball as a whole.
I like that you say that because one of the things I think in modern sports fandom that is kind of annoying is that there's a group of fans out there that don't appreciate sports or players as a whole. They think you have to be deadly loyal to your own team, and you're not allowed to like other teams, other players, other historical players. They want you to be deadly loyal to a certain player. I can go out there and say, I think Lamar Jackson's, he's crazy talented. I don't necessarily think that that he's unbeatable or anything like that. I just think that he's crazy talented, and I would take a ton of heat for saying that I think Lamar Jackson's a crazy talented quarterback. That that he's probably better than Baker at this point, or he is bigger than Baker at this point.
Yeah, he's
an MVP.
He's MVP, yeah.
Right. So there's things like that happen in today's sports world that people are like, oh no, you can't you can't appreciate other players, you can't like other players, you can't like other teams. Yeah, the hell I can. I like the Falcons. I like the Dallas Mavericks. I think the Dallas Mavericks are fascinating.
If you're a fan of sports, you're allowed to. You should be a fan of whoever you want. I mean, you can have loyalty to teams, and once it comes down to playing teams and stuff like that, not rooting for other teams, I think that's where we start drawing the line and whatnot. But just enjoying the player and their abilities take that aside, I think that's perfectly fine.
Can I say something that's real controversial? Last year when Luka came to Cleveland, I went to that game and I was out loud cheering for Luka Doncic and the Mavericks because not only was it Dirk's last rodeo round, which was great, and everyone was cheering for Dirk. It was wonderful. We sat behind the visitors' bench.
It was the appreciation for Dirk, yeah. That was it.
Yeah, that was wonderful, but I was also openly floored at how good Luka was and how easy he made the game look.
Well, once
he was running circles around the Cavs with ease.
If you're a true sport fan, or if you're at a game, whatever sport it is, football, basketball, hockey, soccer, whatever, and you see that talent live, you can't help but be enamored by it. Yeah. You can try to resist it as much as you want, but you're just gonna be in awe of that talent, and you find yourself cheering at times of that player. That's why you have LeBron fans. You have LeBron fans literally going to games. They don't care about the Lakers. They want to see LeBron, and I'm sure Giannis like that. You have Luka like that. KD, I'm sure fewer, but still the same idea.
This is crazy to me because we talk about legacy a little bit, and you look at the next 10 years. you and I are about to say, yeah, we watched LeBron play in the NBA Finals. That's something that that's like so worth it to me in terms of what it costs to go, what the memory meant, and just to be able to think like 10, 15, 20, 30 years from now, we're gonna be those old geezers and be like, yeah, we saw LeBron James play in the finals. It was unreal. Yeah, you like this new kid on the block, but you ever watched LeBron James play live? You missed it. I can't explain it to you. It was incredible. Yeah, that's all you're gonna say. Is you're gonna say I watched LeBron James live, and I can't tell you that that this new kid on the block is ever gonna reach that podium because LeBron live has just been incredible, and that's like one of those memories that's worth the price of admission, man.
Now, is that ideal? The concept of a few years down the road, is that what MJ fans are like? MJ stands or these believers that the best of all time is they've seen him live, and they might have seen LeBron live too, and they kind of judge on that idea.
You get that, yeah, absolutely. You got people who saw MJ live, and it will say, hey, man, we saw him live. I can't, say that anyone's ever close. And I think, like I said, nostalgia is really powerful, and you look at it when you have younger generations who grew up with LeBron, and this is our greatest player because we grew up and watching it, and then we can literally sit there and look at a highlight on one hand and look at a highlight on the other hand and say, yeah, okay, but like you compare apples to apples. What about level of competition? What about the team he had? What about like who he had played with him? What about the coaching he had?
Yeah.
Like
he's the greatest coach of all time, arguably. With
Phil Jackson, man, yeah,
Greg Popovich as well,
dude, but
Steve Kerr's up there. But when you have such
crazy.
an elite coach, that helps tremendously.
Yeah, and he had Pippen, and he had Kukoc, and he had Ron Harper,
Dennis Rodman,
and he had Steve Kerr. It's like it wasn't like that the cupboard was bare like when LeBron went to the finals in 2007. Like it's a whole different ballgame.
And I see you have to take in, I think, the physical aspect of it too. LeBron is an absolute freak. And if you look at MJ, sits what, 230, 220, 215, 220, 225, depending on what version of MJ it is. I just see so many killers in the NBA. Talk about scoring, talk about this pure ability. There's so many names that are outside the top 10 that you wouldn't even put in today's top 10. Well, I'm like, all right, if you put that player, well, I mean, it's hard to do this, but you put that player in MJ's era, would they be dominant or as dominant or more dominant than MJ was? And there is a skill aspect to it. I think that's evolved quite a bit since MJ's era, and that's an aspect that I'm still touchy on and trying to figure out. But
I've got a hot take on this one. So, like, people talk about physicality of that era of the NBA. Let's not forget that some of these current NBA players have got silly ball handling ability. Like, you could literally shake some of these old dudes or some of these mailmen out of their shoes,
janitors,
and break their ankles. Like you think some of these highlight plays now are crazy. Imagine playing against a guy with half the athleticism back in this era, and you give Kyrie Irving up against one of these dudes. Like they're not gonna stand a chance. They're taking these dudes' ankles. Like it's gonna be bad.
Well, you talked about a few players. That's off the top of my head. Damian Lillard, like Devin Booker, Chris Middleton, even he's a dog.
They'd cook.
Like
Absolutely.
They'd be considered. I don't know. I think that like them with like one other star or like a really good role player and a few other shooters. I think if you put those in there, I think MJ wouldn't have the same legacy as he had. But also he had some in the playoff. I think there's a playoff legacy.
Playoffs.
Not including just straight titles that I think MJ Latson. LeBron had 8 straight finals. Was it 9? 8
straight. Yeah,
8 straight. And if you look at MJ, it was the first few years in his career he couldn't get past the first round. But no one brings that aspect of it.
I don't think LeBron has any first round exits.
Yeah, no one brings that aspect of it. And MJ didn't face the greatest team of all time. He was the greatest team of all time. So it's like if LeBron wasn't in the East and Golden State started in 2014 and they just won 5 straight until some other team decided to team up. That's my only comparison with that.
I don't know, man. It's gonna be interesting. We're gonna be able to get more information here soon. I'm excited for this continuing discussion to happen. Remember, we're not really debating here at this point. We're talking about like, what legacy means and how are you going to compare the two and what factors can you use. So we'll be looking into that more, and I'm excited about that. Last little tidbit here: the Browns do re-sign Kareem Hunt. Yes, Kareem Hunt. He signed his second-round tender, so no one else made offers on him, so he's officially a Brown for this next year, unless they choose to trade him somewhere down the road. I like the idea of having Hunt here. I think it's a great backup to Chubb, like I've said before.
At least good insurance.
I think he led the league in rushing 2 years ago, so he's not a slouch by any means himself. I think the Browns' depth is looking very, very good on offense.
I think he's a very important pickup that he's going to be underrated here for a few weeks into the season, maybe a little deeper in the season. But with Stefanski's system, having two quality bats, having two bats who can start on most teams is going to be very valuable on this team with this personnel running the two tight end bat system and coming out of the play action. If you have two guys in the backfield, both on the side of your quarterback, and you have OBJ and Hooper or Njoku and even Jarvis out there, what are you going to even guard as a defense? What are you going to take away? What are you going to give up? With a competent coach, that's a very, very deadly and very, very tough team to plan for.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I'm excited for that aspect. Old school fans love the toolback system, Mack and Biner type of stuff, 1,000 yards in the backfield apiece. That might not be the case, but it's gonna be fun. I think it's gonna be smash mouth football.
It could be, but not in the way you think. It's not 2,000-yard rushing bats. It's maybe 1,200, 1,300 yards with Chubb rushing, and maybe 500, 300 to 500 rushing for Kareem Hunt, another 600, 500 out of the air.
Yeah, I think you could definitely see some, a lot of out of the backfield, passes to Hunt and get him in space. I think it's gonna be great. I'm excited for it. That's gonna wrap up this episode of the Everything Is Earned podcast. We do have our Wednesday episode coming up here with the draft breakdown. Get locked in for that. We're gonna have a lot of great stuff this week here regarding the draft and the coverage of the draft. You're not gonna want to miss that aspect of it. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
And the post draft, we're gonna go over the talent we got. All of that. So it's going to be pre and post draft stuff. Who we got, what do we like about them, what we don't like about them, all that stuff. But that about wraps up this episode.
And we're gonna be back here on Wednesday. Don't miss the Wednesday episode. That's the breakdown. So appreciate everyone who's tuned in and listened. Share it with a friend. Subscribe, unsubscribe, resubscribe. Help us get the numbers up. We're excited to keep doing this every single Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So looking forward to having these discussions with you guys, and we'll talk to you here very soon.
Again, leave some feedback. Leave a review on your one aha from this episode. What did you get that you're like, oh, I kind of like that? If there was a light bulb moment, leave a review, comment underneath, and let us know what you thought.
I'm into it, Tim. And remember, here in Cleveland, everything is earned.
Ooh. Bum, bum, bum.
Bum, ba-da, bum, ba-da, bum, ba-da, bum, ba-da, bum.